Welcome to League of Europe Division 2, round 17 to 17, season 9 at Interlagos. I am QVR Killer, taking you through proceedings this evening against my will, but I'm too much of a people pleaser to stick to my convictions, and we're on board with life bound to turn one. Man with a slim to none chance of the title this evening, but he's had a good start through Sector 1 in what is a sprint event this evening, so it's one shot qualifying followed by a 12-lap sprint, 12 points to the winner, 10 points to the winner, down to 1 for 10th place, fastest lap point as well, and then the Grand Prix, as we all know. And coming into Ferragura, their lifeboat in P2, our title contenders, where are they? Felipe's in P2, Koskappen's in P2, it's all jogging around very much in the midfield. I wonder if anyone snuck ABS on for this evening's race. So ABS heavy track is Interlagos. They're coming through Bico de Pato now, Nogulo, and then Junchao, Sweeros and Chris, both Alpines, have retired from the session. It's going to be lifeboat from Larkin from lifebout from Koskappen. Larkin's had a shocker through Junchao, and that's going to lose him to momentum all the way up straight down towards P8 now, and lifebout is going to claim pole position here. Koskappen's in P2, and then it's two up carries of Luke and Felipe. Third place straight for by 6. Correct 7th Larkin, 8th from Scream, Oxide, Nova, and Miami, RJ, Darry, and Coxey. Coxey still waiting to cross the line. He must have had a spin somewhere in there. And that, as they say, is that. And Koskappen's done what he needs to do. He's out-qualified Felipe. He sits currently 18 points behind Felipe, the championship leader here today. He needs a bigger of a point swing than that. Currently, he would cut Felipe's lead just down to 16 points were they to finish where they start going into the Grand Prix, which would mean that if Koskappen wins, he needs Felipe to finish 6th or lower in order to take the title. So Koskappen will need to get past Lifeboat and hope Felipe's more cautious instincts get the better of him, and he gives up a few places in this race. And Oxide Nova says his throttle is broken. He can only go like 75%. And a dry race ahead of us as well. QVR Benjo says, well, I'm dead. I'm not sure why. He's starting in almost as good a position as he could hope for in P2, just behind Lifebout there. Seeing anything's being said in chat, I don't believe so. We have got a battle for P4 in the championship today. Larkin and Luke are tied on points ahead of this race, so there's something to be had there. Some pride, perhaps. Larkin himself a former D2 champion. And Luke an Endure champion. So let's look at the starting tires. The sprint should all be mediums, and it is indeed. And Luke does his customary surge into the lead of the formation lap and takes P1 out on track. And sprint race, it's a different kettle of fish. Incentivises, in theory, more aggressive, closer racing. Remember, the results from this race set to the grid for the Grand Prix, quite unlike now real life F1, where the sprint and the Grand Prix are entirely separated. As Luke spins his way out of Ferragura there, takes the nick a little bit, doesn't it, and then he goes down the hill. He's going to reset to track here, I do believe, or he might just have kept it going, and he has indeed. Plummets to very nearly the back of the field there. So it's going to be Lifebout and Koskappen on the front row, and how Koskappen needs a good start here. He needs to get clear of that Haas as quickly as possible, and he needs some misfortune to befell this man. Ariel Felipe is currently running P2 on the formation lap. He needs, well, ideally he needs Felipe to give up as many points as possible. Were Koskappen to win the sprint race and Felipe to not finish, the most favourable of circumstances for the Red Bull driver, then you're looking really at a 8-point gap, which would mean that if Koskappen wins and takes fastest lap in the Grand Prix, even if Felipe finishes second, Koskappen takes the title on countback. So it is very important, the sprint race. It's pivotal in where the rest of the night goes. And we are about to get underway for the first time today. So, it's Lifebout on the left of your screen, Koskappen on the right. Felipe is sitting just behind his title rival there, Koskappen. And for the first of 2 times today, we are underway, and that looked like a good start from Lifebout. Less so from Koskappen. Luke's already pulling alongside him here, and may just be ahead round the outside into turn 1. It's going to be very tight between the two Brumbies, and Koskappen gets turned round there. Contact between himself and between Luke, and that's done everything Felipe needs. He's up into 3rd place. Koskappen's down to 15th, and if it were to stay like this already, that would put Felipe's lead at 26 points. It would be nigh impossible for Koskappen to take the title. Were the Alpha to swap, that would be title Felipe done before we even get to the Grand Prix. Larkin's made a good game. He's up 2 places into P6, and we've got a send here from Oxide Nova on Miami. That's going to leave him open to the aggressions of his teammate. RJ's having a look in this as well. In fact, Darry does nip through on Oxide Nova. And is Nova going to have a look back? No, he's not, but he's going to have to defend from RJ. Koskappen, you can see running right at the back there, just with Sweet Ross, the company behind him, side by side down Magulo between RJ and Coxey, who Felipe says has not looked at a screen for 2 months. I think he's been in France or somewhere doing army stuff. As Ariel Coxey, and this is what Koskappen needs. He's already got 1 place back there from Chris. His teammate will be very generous, I'm sure, in letting Koskappen through the 2 Alfa Romeos, that's not Alfa, anything, Aston Martin's there, and there's huge contact. Also, I know, which ploughs into the back of Darry. He did say his throttle was stuck a little bit at 75%. Koskappen takes P12 from Chris. You'll forgive me that my focus is on our championship contenders today. Chris is going to have a look back in towards turn 4. Nothing doing at the front field. Larkin's getting another place. He's up into P5. But it's all very, very tame at the front of the field so far today. And we are only on lap 2 here, though. It's worth noting we have got 10.5 laps of racing still to go. Let's get those interval gaps on now. And Lifebout's already checked out by 1.1 seconds from Luke and Felipe behind. I'd love to see that contact between between Koskappen. Oh, and there goes Rex up at Magulo. He's done a full 360, and unfortunately for Koskappen, he rejoins just in front of the Red Bull driver, who needs every point he can possibly hope to find right now. I've lost my train of thought. I've forgotten what I was saying. But anyway, we are on to lap 3. 1.5 is the gap for second. 1.5 is the gap from second to third. Everyone seems quite content to just run in formation, and this is going to, could this be an F1 real life sprint race where it's an absolute bore fest? We've already started because of the restart. We started 10 minutes late. I don't even want to be here, so we need some entertainment, otherwise I'll be struggling to keep my eyes open for the Grand Prix. Switzerland are currently performing in Eurovision with their song Water Gun. Not a favourite of mine particularly, but it is a solid song. It's just not the kind of song that ever wins the Eurovision Song Contest. Lifebout's now 1.8 clear of Luke. He is got the measure of the field today, but it doesn't matter because Felipe's in P3, which is enough to extinguish Lifebout's title chances, even if he takes the win and the fastest lap here. Larkin looking close to his old sparring partner from earlier on this season in Ariel Felipe. These two were the primary title antagonists for a point until Larkin's season rather went down the drain. Looks like Tope's close to the back of Miami. DRS is now in effect, of course, because we're on to lap 4 of this Grand Prix. Is Tope going to fancy a send at Miami? No, he's not. None of that late game, late season adventure as Koskappen does dispatch Coxey to. He's up into 11th place, but he's some way off Felipe. This is his favourite track. He's very good here, but he's 6 seconds behind the man who needs to be beating. And with only 8 laps to hand, or 8.5 laps to hand, he's going to struggle to, I think, recover anything. One more place he's into the points. There's a contact there between Chris and Coxey out of turn 5 into 6 and 7. That's sort of a double right-hander, and then you arrive very quickly at turn 8. Life actually now 2.3 seconds. He is really stretching his legs up front. It's now the turn of Poland at Eurovision, which I have below the sprint race in front of me. Much more entertaining, I have to say, than this sprint race so far. It's not been a classic. The field is strung out a little bit. You see Pope running a touch wide, perhaps, on the exit of Junchao. Oxide Nova, who said he has that throttle issue. Let's have a look at his telemetry. His throttle looks like it's fully on. He's capping out at 334, which seems reasonable. Felipe and Larkin, dicing away through 2 and through 3. And Larkin's used all of his ERS there. Felipe's got no DRS, but he has got some ERS to use. No, he hasn't. They're both derating side by side into turn 4. I think that was indicative of the fact that probably Felipe's maybe running lower wings than Larkin there, because he was managing to hold it neck and neck even without DRS, and he's coming up the inside of turn 6 here. You don't want to stick a car at the inside of there. Believe me, ask Rickerick, because me and him came to blows there last season on the penultimate race of the season, I want to say. And Larkin goes a little bit deep. Felipe is going to try out-drag him, and there's bombarding of wheels there, and they've got to be careful, because otherwise they're going to invite Retify into this battle. Felipe knows where Koskapen is. He doesn't need to pick this fight, but maybe he wants to. He's going to get DRS, though, unless Larkin out-drags him towards the detection point, and I think Larkin has out-dragged him towards the detection point, and this could be a double pickings here for Retify. In fact, neither of them have got DRS. Where's Retify going to go? He's going to go through the middle. This could be fantastic overtake if Retify can pull it off. And he has pulled it off, you know. And Larkin is going to try follow him through round the outside of Felipe at turn 2. He'll get pushed against the curb at 3. Felipe's very generous with the space, but he drops. He's dropped one place. He could be dropping another one imminently. Let's have a look who's running the lower wings. I think it's Felipe's running much lower wings, because he's capping out at 329, 328. Larkin around 322. In the speed trap there, well, not in the speed trap, but at the end of the straight. I don't think the slipstream have been too influential on Retify for Felipe. And Koskapen doesn't manage to make another move. He's behind Rex. Remember Rex, who spun earlier on, and you can see Felipe at the front of that train that is ahead of him as Coxey picks up a 3-second penalty, our first of the day. It's not the easiest track to get there, to be honest. Cut in turn 2, maybe, but we're going to stick with this battle between between Felipe and Larkin, and I think Felipe got a touch better exit there. He's using his ERS, and he's got less ERS to hand than Larkin does, but he has got more straight line speed. He's doing everything he can to stay within Retify's 1 second window. I think everyone at this point has just used it up, apart from Luke. Even Lifeout's down to the bare bones, scraping the barrel of his battery there, as we have got Rex and Koskapen here, and Koskapen can get the move done at turn 2, but he's got a better run through 3 down towards 4. Rex has got no DRS. I think Koskapen's going to pick this one off, and that brings him a place closer to his title rival. Rex is not wanting to give it up, but he runs off the track there, and Koskapen is through. As Sweeros does the same to Coxey. So that brings Koskapen into the points in the sprint race. He'll take 1 point. Felipe will take 7. A 6-point swing in Felipe's favour moves the gap to 24 points. Pretty much unassailable if Felipe were to have a drama-free Grand Prix, but he's got 5 laps of the sprint race to navigate yet, and he's still looking vulnerable to Larkin, although he is just about hanging on to the DRS of Retify, which is his saving grace right now, because I think he's slower than the people immediately behind him. Larkin is no longer derating, he's saving up some ERS for a charge later on. And we've just had Poland in Eurovision. I'm not sure what we've got now. Or we've got Serbia, which is the only song I'm probably happy to miss, to be honest with you. It's not a great one, although some people seem to like it. Retify picks up a penalty. That is going to be very costly and very pivotal in our championship battle as well. As a penalty comes in for Coxey too. I think it looked like there was a double there, potentially, but Felipe, if he takes that place third, he takes 8 points, which means his gap extends to 26. Koskapen pulls one back to 25. So we'd need a further 2-point swing for Felipe to take the title outright. in the sprint race, and Rezify spins his way round there, and he's collected by Felipe, and Felipe's got damage from that, you know, and that could be absolutely massive, as Rex spins out of the last corner as well. What a pivotal lap for the championship. Just as I was saying, it could be all but wrapped up. Felipe's now having to defend with no front wing, or a limited front wing, from Taupe and from Nova towards turn 1. Let's see how that AlphaTauri handles through turns 1 and 2. It looks okay. Just about, I think. Yeah, the front right end plate is missing. He's going to struggle now. Koskapen will be able to see, or perhaps be aware of that, if RJ's given him any information. And this is going to be now a really sluggish few laps for Felipe as he chops across there, the front of Oxide Nova. That looked dirty from Felipe, in my opinion. I think Nova was entitled to some space there, but it keeps another mole down in the hole for Felipe. He needs every place he can fight for. Why not get his Schumacher dirty, greasy elbows out here? Taupe is going to be the next one to have a lunge. He'll probably be starting to sense that Felipe's got a bit of a problem as Dari picks up a penalty down in 15th. We've got a yellow flag. That is for Rex. And we're coming round the last corner now. Felipe's gap is 1.5 to Miami. He's not going to have DRS. And Rezify out into the wall. Out of the race goes Rezify. And we've just crossed onto lap 10. We're just too late for any safety car to pop on track. And that brings Koskapen a place closer to Ariel Felipe. So the point swing that was going to be 6 points or so is now going to be just 2. And it could end up yet going in Koskapen's favour. And Taupe now, he's got a run down towards turn 4. But even with DRS, he's barely got any straight line speed over Felipe. He's going to have to do it in the corners. You can see Felipe struggling to get the car turned into 4, and because you're struggling to get the car turned in, you then have a sloppy exit to boot on the way through 5 and then into 6 and 7. So we'll be really pushing that. He'll be fancying a lunge perhaps, and Koskapen will really be giving Taupe the hurry up and saying, please have a lunge. We've got 3 laps to go. None of these guys have penalties. These are all for position, but Taupe not in a position to strike yet. And this will be one corner where I think Felipe will really be feeling it. That front wing missing as Taupe gets a little wide through Jun Chao. And he's putting his ERS on now. He's got slipstream. He'll see Felipe derating pops on the last of his ERS. And he's got the DRS open now towards turn 1. But he's capping at 329, 331. He's only got 9Ks or so over Felipe. He's too slow in a straight line, is Taupe. He's not got the wings that Koskapen needs him to have. In fact, Koskapen could even get a run himself here through turn 3, and he has got a run, you know. And I think with those lower wings, he's got what he needs, Koskapen. And now we're going to have a 1.5 lap shootout between our 2 title contenders. A point swing this way for Felipe makes it 19 points going into the Grand Prix. Point for Koskapen, if he gets the move done, makes it just 17 points. And when you're looking at this, every point is crucial, and Koskapen cannot afford to sit behind Felipe and hope that something comes his way later on in the Grand Prix. He needs to make the move now. He needs to give Taupe and Chris a chance to get through as well. As Lifebout's leading now 5 seconds to Scream spins there, and he's going to drop a place. That hands all of these guys a place, but it's a point of place, so it doesn't do anything, relatively speaking, to the championship situation. Here comes Koskapen now. He's got the ERS on, and has he got the straight line speed? He clearly is running lower wings than Taupe was, so he should be less impeded by Felipe. And is he going to have a send? He's got no choice really. He needs to try and make a move, and in a little bit of contact there between them. Felipe will be his foot will be tapping, his heart will be beating out of his chest, I'm sure. And we have got just a few corners to go, and a shoddy exit through turns 2 and 3 meant that Koskapen couldn't get the move done there. He's going to have a middle sector lunge. Felipe very slow out through turns 4 and 5 as we climb the hill now towards Ferrajura. Koskapen still looking to force something to happen. Ascend into turn 8 perhaps. He's going to have to send it into turn 8. He does send it into turn 8, and they come to blows as well. Has he got the outside line round turn 9? Or is Felipe going to send him all the way to the grass? But Koskapen brilliantly, beautifully gets the move done. And what about Felipe now? He's got to turn his attentions really to what's going on behind him than what's going on in front of him now with that wing damage. He's just got to focus on bringing this home. Lifebout is going to win the sprint race, but we don't care about that. It's all about these guys, and I think Felipe, with his lower wings, his lower drag, is anything he needs to do to escape the clutches of Tote, but Chris could end up getting him on the line here. Oxide Nova's had a spin out of Junchao for the last time, but that ends what started very dry, but ultimately a dramatic sprint race. Koskam takes 5th, Felipe 6th. The gap closes to 17 points in today's sprint. Life out wins from Luke, a good ascent from the two McLarens to pick up 3rd and 4th. And then there was everything that ensued behind them. Felipe's contact with Oxide Nova, I thought, was pure idiocy from Ariel Felipe, but I'm sure he'll be asking me to tell me how wrong I am if he does have the stream on. Was it Oxide Nova? It was Resify that got him the damage. I can't remember. There was something I thought Felipe did that was stupid. It might have been Oxide Nova, to be honest with you. I need some Pepsi. Right, so now we've just got the main event to come. 36 laps ahead of us. Right, we're back and we are ready for Grand Prix. 17 points, as we said, is the gap between Felipe and Koskapen, which means that in theory Felipe finishes top 5. He is a champion, and with the result of the sprint, it means Koskapen and Felipe are starting right next to each other. We've got Lifeboat and Luke on the front row, though, the 2 McLarens behind them, and then a Championship Challenger, row 3. And for the last time in Division 2 this season, we are underway, and that was a great start from Miami. Look at that on the inside of Luke into turn 1. The McLarens sandwiching the Alpha Tauri there. Let's have a look behind between Felipe and Koskappen, and they're argy through turn 3. There's a little bit of kerfuffling going on in the back as well. We've got a gap in the background. The Williams has gone. Look at this between the Ferrari of Coxey and RJ and Resify and Darry are all in this melee that's coming towards turn 4. RJ on the soft compound tyres. We've got a yellow flag. That's just the Scream going slowly, and they're still side by side. And a huge contact there that takes Sui Ross out of the race. Coxey with some front wing damage. That's a virtual safety car. And you could see that coming from a mile away, couldn't you? Koskappen's 5th, Felipe is 6th is where we stand title-wise, but we are under virtual, so there's unlikely to see any stops at this point unless RJ is able to get around and pop a set of hards on. And perhaps even try and stretch those to the end of the Grand Prix, but I think the VSC will be in by the time RJ gains any substantial benefit, and we are in fact already under green. Lifeboat leads Miami, leads Luke, and Luke is going to try to get back at Miami, who's on the medium tyres of course, so we'll be better and stronger in this opening stint of the race. And have we got any battles? Let's get the interval gaps on now. And we've got Resify passing Darry into turn 1. And that is Felipe, and he's spun out of turn 3, and he's lost his front wing there as well, and he's going to drop down into 13th place, maybe even 14th behind Resify. He will be 14th behind Resify after he pits, and now how he desperately needs a safety car. He's still champion as it stands, but that's a crucial error or incident or moment, whatever happened there, that's put him right down to the back of the field. And he's on the hard tyres as well, so even if he makes a pit stop now, he's not going to be able to take them to the end of the race. His race is absolutely stuffed like a Christmas turkey if he can't turn that car back around and get it back in and back on the other set of hards without a safety car. As we got a yellow flag, that's Coxey has spun and lost his front wing. That could bring out a virtual, but I think we've escaped it for now. But Felipe's surely going to have to come in, or even if he perseveres here, either way, his race is ruined without a safety car. Because if he comes in and puts mediums on, he's not going to get the end, he'll have to pit again. And if he stays out, he's going to have to pit again. But he's coming in, he'll put the mediums on, and then he'll need a safety car to bring him back into play. So everything now is about, well what can Koskappen do? Right now, he'll be 7 points behind Felipe. He needs at least 2nd. Does Koskappen. He needs 2nd place to win the championship, were Felipe to not get points. If he were to get into the lead, that would cause severe headaches for Felipe. He would need to climb quite substantially into the points, as it is. If Koskappen gets his way up to 2nd, Felipe only needs to find his way to 11th to deny the Red Bull driver. But right now, it doesn't matter where Felipe finishes, he's still going to win the title with Koskappen where he is. So where's Lifeboat with Miami? I think Lifebout's pace in the sprint race was just so ominous that I think it's hard to see Koskappen winning this race. But we've seen Lifebout make mistakes from the lead of the race before. He's had wind snatched from under him as Coxey comes out and puts a lap down. So that is his race de facto over. What tyres did Felipe put on? He did put on a set of mediums. So if he'd picked the hard option at the start, he could have gone hard, but then obviously still though make puts up either way. There was no way no one could have done anything that would get him to the end of the race. We're looking at Miami now, hunting down Lifebout. And Lifebout is really just saving up his ERS here. He's just managing this race, and then you think he'll put it on all at the end of this lap when if Miami does present any kind of DRS threat. This train is not what Red Bull need particularly. We've got 32 laps to go yet. We've got a lot of racing. We saw Vettel in last place at the end of lap 1 at Brazil 2012, and then he came back brilliantly to win the championship. Resify had a moment for Jim Chow, as now has Rex is there goes Miami for the lead of the Grand Prix into turn 1, and Lifeboat will just slot him behind him. He knows he's on the quicker strategy probably, and Miami will assume the lead in the interim at least. RJ on those soft tyres, what can he do today? Trying to put a spanner in the works of people. He's looking in reasonable shape. I mean, those tyres are hanging together okay, but he'll be at the point now where he'll be starting to feel a little bit of pain from them, and we'll be needing a safety car at this point to bring him back into play. Flimmer passes up the race as Larkin is out of spin. Excuse me, I was just looking down at Discord there. But Larkin's dropped it at turn 9 and slips to P11 in the process. So that frees Koskappen up a place, gains him an extra 2 points, moves him a place close to his goal of second, but he's out of DRS range of Luke. So Koskappen's going to have to use everything here to bring his way back into play. As Resify is in the wars again. No, sorry, that's Coxey a lap down. And in fact, does he come to blows with someone? He can't have done, because he would be ghosted. Scream has just spun. And are we really that surprised? Coxey comes into bits. Could this be to retire being a lap down? I should think so, and indeed it is. RJ passes Chris. I said those soft tyres were going off. Not a bit of it. RJ takes a place and moves to within 2 of his teammate. And he really needs to be Koskappen's rear gunner here. He just needs to keep the path behind him clear as much as possible. Koskappen's gap 1.6 seconds to Luke. He's not managed to make any impression on that. He'll hope that when Miami's tyres go off, he can hold Lifeboat and Luke up, if only momentarily, in such a way as to bring himself into DRS. We are around 18% of the way into this Grand Prix, and it's shaping up. It's a slow burner, but it's shaping up. With Felipe down in last place right now, we're in a position where, you know, a mistake here or there for anyone at the top of the field is going to be so crucial. You'd think that with Miami's strategy, that's probably a place there for Koskappen. So then it's Luke, his title rival's teammate, or Lifeboat, someone who's probably much quicker than Koskappen, that he needs to worry about. And with the DRS situation right now, Koskappen really isn't able to bring himself into play at all. The only thing he can do is try and keep Tope behind him. He's not catching Luke, and this is a favourite track for Koskappen, but he's not doing anything today of particular note, it has to be said. 1.8 seconds. I mean, he's gaining a little bit back through the middle, and then he's just losing it all in the DRS straights. Miami, which is telling you, if anything, Miami's pace is pretty rapid. I mean, he's the one at the front of the train. He's the one that's dictating the pace of Lifeboat and of Luke. So the fact that Koskappen's slower than those in front of him tells you Koskappen is slower than Miami right now. So those mediums are still working a treat for the McLaren car. And have we got any battles further back? I don't think so. We could be seeing Lifeboat come back to the lead of the race. In fact, Luke is sending it here on Lifeboat. I can just pick up a camera angle, and that could be contact between them. And Luke has a bit of a wobble, takes Lifeboat onto the outside of turn 3, gives Miami a break, and could bring Koskappen into play, but only by a few tenths of a second. That was silly from Luke. That was a battle he didn't need to pick. All he's got to do is make sure Koskappen doesn't finish first or second. That's his only job today for Luke. So the fact he put the risk of wiping himself and Lifeboat out of the race is nonsensical to me, because that's you handing the race win to Koskappen on a golden platter, as it were. So I think Luke needs to check himself before he wrecks himself and wrecks his teammates' title hopes today. So where are our battles? Koskappen's pulled the gap to 1.3 seconds. Lifeboat is just about, as a result of that, inside Miami's DRS, but he's had to use ERS to get there. His significant reserves of around 70-80% have plummeted to around 47. But perhaps it is a sign that Lifepath's not having it all his own way. Perhaps it's not, the result of this race isn't as much of a foregone conclusion as the sprint race was. Koskapen's still struggling to now those last few tenths that he needs. We've got a yellow flag. Dari is out of the race. Could that be the safety car that Felipe so dearly needs? And indeed, it is. So the race for the title takes another turn and one more retirement, and we're all guaranteed points here, which will be music to Felipe's ears. Is he going to come back in for the set of hearts he started the race on? You'd think he has to, and he does indeed. And this could actually turn the race, not just, well, turn it completely on its head, because now Felipe can go to the end. Miami's going to be able to pit and go to the end. This puts Miami into a brilliant position, whereas for those on the hards, they've either got a choice between pick the medium and go very long and suffer at the end of the race, or make a pit stop later on. And they make a pit stop later on, they're going to find themselves behind Felipe, who will be going to the end, and they'll have to make an overtake on track. So anyone who's not on the hards right now is loving life. That includes Tope, that includes RJ, and it included Felipe, who was of course on mediums and has already made his pit stop. But everyone's coming in, apart from Koskapen. So Resify stayed out as well. Have any of our back runners? Rex, I think Rex pits. Scream, you'd think would pit with everybody else. Everyone else has gone mediums. Miami's obviously gone on to hard, so he'll be slower to start with, but will probably be looking in better shape come the end of the race. This makes you wonder, perhaps Koskapen has thrown this in the bin here by going against the grain of the collective wisdom of our D2 field, or maybe he's played an absolute blinder. As Sweden take to the stage in Eurovision. I'm going to take a drinks break. Right, we're getting back underway here, and Koskapen has played it beautifully to break the gap to Miami, who's on those hard tyres. They can Lifepath do something on the medium tyres towards turns 1 now. And where's everyone else behind them? Scream and Reservoir dicing away through turn 2. Felipe still in last place, but in a much better position now, although he is on older tyres than everyone. Lifebound doesn't have to get past Miami. Down the retro cluster towards turn 4. It's been a very clean restart from everyone. RJ is looking at the back of that Williams with particular interest. And Chris fancying his chances perhaps up the inside of Ferrer Jordan. He's going to fancy ascend here. He does fancy ascend here, and RJ sensible enough to spot it coming and just covers off the outside of the corner and takes the inside for turn 9. And Chris maybe a bit too eager as Larkin is trying to go around the outside, Oxide over. Will run him towards the curb, but he's got the inside as Larkin from Magulo towards Junchao. And Larkin's through is Chris, nearly at the back of RJ there, it looked like, and Larkin might nab a second place here, and indeed he does. He's got the ERS on, they both do. The inside of turn, I think that's 15, towards the line, and up ahead, Tope. This is Luke versus Miami into turn 1. Luke takes the place that he needs, and all these guys have pitted. Koskappen hasn't. Koskappen will be banking on a safety car coming in around 7 or 8 laps time, you would think. Maybe a little bit longer. So he's going to have to go long. He's going to have to go long by quite an amount. As Oxide Nova up the inside of Rex. Apologies. So where are we at right now? So Lifebout is, you'd think, will dispatch Kivyar, Koskappen in quite short order as we head on to lap 14 of 60, or lap 14 of 36 rather, of this Grand Prix. And Luke is looking in a nifty spot as well. DRS now enabled, and that's Larkin making him even RJ to walk before turn 1 and without even the need of DRS. So it's got a good exit, but then goes very deep into 1. He'll have to take a tight line through 2. That'll give Rajay a run through 3 and towards 4. And DRS enabled, but didn't do anything for Lifebout on this lap, did it? It's still 0.3 of a second. I'm intrigued how aggressively Luke is going to play if he gets towards Koskappen, because if Koskappen retired from this race, that's it. And Felipe is champion despite his being 13th place right now, and going to the end though he may be, he's clearly, you can see, he's straying further from the back of the screen. I think that was a warning from him as well, actually, there, incidentally, up the inside of turn 8. It looked like he cut that corner. We've not seen any penalties yet. Remember, Coxey had one in the sprint race, as did Reservoir. We've not seen any in the Grand Prix yet. Coxey out at the race course. Reservoir would be, I bet, he tends to pick up penalties. Instead, he's picked up a spin there at Junchao, and that invites Felipe into the points, and Felipe's going to get past Scream as well, who must have had a very short exit, and we lift. What have we got going on here? Felipe lifting off. I'm jumping to the front. We've got a 3-way battle for the lead. Koskappen is passed by Luke, who passed Lifebout. I was very confused there. I thought a safety car that we hadn't seen, everyone was Delta, and everything was just going on because I saw Felipe lift off. Koskappen's going to go back towards Luke, in towards turn 4. Luke will cover off the inside. Koskappen will try and get a better exit through 5. I think you have to settle for second place there. Apologies, I was very confused about that moment, as here comes Lifebout now, attacking Koskappen again, but this time there's 2 cars in front of him because Luke has played an absolute blind to take the lead of this race. Eventually a win as well to come. We saw position changes in the middle of the field. I honestly can't remember where they were. I think Larkin, we got past Tope, he's on the medium tyre, so he's running very well. I think Miami would probably let Larkin through this lap, given the pace offset between them. And here we go now, DRS once again down towards turn 1. And Larkin does indeed pass Miami towards turn 1. Felipe definitely not the quickest today, down in 11th place, but he is on course with 2 points now, which means that the second place that Koskappen's in is no longer good enough. He needs to win the Grand Prix unless he takes second with fastest lap. And that seems like a bit of a tall order. But we've got Chris and RJ. Chris went very late in towards 4, but on the medium tyres, he was desperate to get that move done, and he has managed to get it done. These medium tyres, I'm interested how they're going to evolve as we go through this race. I would presume from the sprint, people are quite confident they're going to get to the end. I don't think everyone would have pitted if they knew they had to make another pit stop on the back of it. So I'm intrigued how these are going to evolve as we get towards the latter stages of the race, because we've still got over 20 laps to go right now. So let's see. Here we've got Lifebout and Larkin about to dispatch Koskappen. Now Koskappen will be going as long as he can in this race, trying to avoid losing too many places and then pick up a result under safety car. And Lifebout showing that he's not running particularly low wings because he can't get past Koskappen down towards straight, although Koskappen himself would have had DRS, and Lifebout's going to barge his way through there at turn 3. That'll leave Koskappen a little bit offline. Can he fight back? No, he can't, because there's DRS for Lifebout. So Koskappen slips another position and into a position that would guarantee Ariel Felipe down in 11th place a D2 championship here in the League of Europe. I always hate people who call it the League of Europe. It's just League of Europe, and then I have become one of those people. I've become the very thing I swore to destroy. It's League of Europe, not the League of Europe. Larkin is very interested in the back of that Red Bull, and the Oracle logo there. Who knows what Oracle does? No idea. I have to ask an Oracle what Oracle do. I am funny. I think this could be a move that's done again. Larkin's got a little more ERS to hand than Koskappen, and he's going to make the move here. He's going down the outside towards turn 1 on those medium tyres. He's going to have more grip. Can he hang around the outside? Although Koskappen looks like he's got a little more in the way of straight line speed, but Larkin gets the move done as Rex does the same on RJ into turn 1. And up ahead of them, Tope and Chris, wheel to wheel down the Retroposter towards turn 4. And the Koskappen, we can see just ahead there, very momentarily, trying to return the overtake to Larkin, and then failing to do so. There's now a bit of a battle though between Lifebout and Luke, and this is just a straight up hands down. No championship involved between these two. They just want to win the race. So it's going to be DRS Lifebout. I think this probably will be a straightforward overtake, but Luke looks like he's getting a better run down straight, and I think he's what's he on 3:15, 3:28 for Lifebout with DRS, which is quite low with DRS, to be honest with you, Lifebout. So he is running a more corner-minded setup. Felipe's really not being playing any indentation on RJ. God help us, we're only halfway through this Grand Prix. A safety car, I say next 4 or 5 laps was supposed to have a treat, because then that would bring Koskappen back in the race. As it is, if there's no safety car, Koskappen is absolutely ruined. He's going to finish in last place in this race. He's the only person who's yet to make a pit stop. As Lifebout is very interested in the back of Luke there. But he hasn't got the facilities in the engine straight line speed department to do anything about Luke, but I think he's close enough to Luke this time. So if he wants to, he will be able to. He's certainly got more of an advantage in the ERS department. But Luke, again, he's just getting more drive off Jun Chao, which I find odd how strong the AlphaTauri seems to be. And he's navigating turns 1, 2 and 3 with grace. And I'm struggling to find something to talk about here. I won't lie to you. I am struggling. I'm looking for some action. There is none. Keeping an eye on Felipe's progress towards RJ, but it's hovering around 2 seconds. It has done for a good few laps now. So it's just 16 laps to go. And then we will be crowning a new D2 title winner. Koskappen has won D3 before. Felipe hasn't won a D2 an LOE title before. So let's. I'll be honest, I'm struggling to find them. To say too much. There is no race happening right now. It is just a procession, which is rare in LOE. But a life battle not wanting to do anything about Lucas Koskappen pits. Koskappen has bailed on his strategy. He's come into the pits, and that is good night Vienna. That is championship done. He's going to have 11 laps fresher tyres than everybody else, but you know, unless those guys are forced to pit, there's nothing you can do. And even if they do pit, he's behind Miami, Taupe, and Felipe, who are all going to the end on hard tyres anyway. So that was a strategic blunder, a big one, from Koskappen there. And I think Felipe will probably realise that fact, to be honest with you, that Koskappen has ruined himself. I know it's hard to judge what the rest of the field is going to do, but I think if everyone else is coming to the bits, clearly there was enough evidence from the sprint race that the medium tyres would make it to the end. And even if they weren't going to, Koskappen ends up behind Felipe either way. Yeah, it looked so good for him on lap 2, didn't it? But I think Felipe, by luck, by hook, by crook, or by prodigious talent, I'm not sure about the last one, I think Felipe has finessed his way here to a D2 championship in which, for the most part, he hasn't looked seriously challenged. I wouldn't say at any point he's been the outright quickest driver on the grid. Necessarily on one lap pace. Koskappen's looked better for parts. Lifeboat certainly looked better and quicker for parts. Larkin in the early part of the season as well, as Koskappen now spins at Ferrajora and does a 360 round. But you can't really fault what Felipe has done this season. His Rex reset to track there, and he now ascends into 9th place. You can't fault really his season. It's been not impervious or imperious, but it has been beautifully well measured and solid from start to finish. A win, a podium at Silverstone is what it started with. The second place, best of the rest behind Alex the G, and then a win at China, and then a string of solid, if unspectacular results followed. He was 10th at Japan, but then 5th at Abu Dhabi, 4th at Monaco, 4th at Kota, 5th at Canada, and then 3rd at Bahrain, 4th at Bahrain, I believe, 3rd at Imola in the Stewards, another 5th place at Mexico, another 3rd place at Singapore, another 4th place at Zandvoort, a 6th place at Austria. It's just been solid results all the way through, really, from Felipe. Just solid driving. And I'm going to take a quick drinks break, as it looks like Lifebout is about to take the lead of the race. And I have returned to find Lifebout butting the backside. Luke 05 HD still doggedly refusing to overtake the Alcantara despite a significant ERS advantage. Luke on 18%, Lifebout's on 70% if he wanted to overtake the Alcantara. He absolutely could do, but he's elected not to. And Larkin watching this thinking, just please crash into each other. Larkin's on 83%. He's really saving up his reserves and using a little bit here. If he sees Luke derate ahead of him, he might be inclined to go for a move. And Lifebout's having to use some. There's got a yellow flag, I think that was for Rex again, and Larkin's going to go for this on Lifebout. Lifebout's going to be forced to go this on Luke, and Larkin goes brilliant around the outside. Lifebout is boxed in there, and overhead, look at this brilliant view. Lifebout is barged onto the curb, just as he was with Luke. Larkin will tuck into Luke's slipstream. They're both going to dump it down the straight, and Lifebout saving all of his resources, looking for a move on Luke so he could wrap up the win. Slam dunk guaranteed later on. He's opened himself up to the advances of Larkin, ERT Larkin, who blitzes past Blitzkrieg style and takes P2 in this Grand Prix, and that turn into P1 for Larkin, whose season started so well and then went off kilter a little bit, and now he's going to find his way back towards the lead, or the sharp end of the grid. Let's check in with Koskapen, having a lonely and miserable race with well, just under 10 laps to go here, and then picks up a penalty. I think that is, yes, championship done for Koskapen. He made the blunder when he didn't take the pit lane under the safety car, and everyone else did. He was the only person to stay out with Rectify, the other one. And Luke now, perhaps his lead is under as big a threat as it has been, because perhaps Larkin is more willing to overtake Luke than Lifebout was earlier on. Rectify comes into the pits, takes a 5-second penalty. Maybe that is a sign. He's not retiring from the race. Maybe that is a sign the mediums are not going to the end. We've got 8 laps to go. It could be we could be running into puncture territory. Safety car was around lap 8. I'm surprised. I was surprised that everyone was willing to come in and put them on. But, you know, they're the ones driving the cars. They're the ones who have done the sprint racing in the beginnings and probably know how long they're likely to last. Larkin's on 3.5 laps of fuel, which I find extremely triggering. 1.5 for Lifebout. Miami's on 2.9. The McLaren seems sort of out. 3.1 for Oxide Nova. 1.7 for IRT Tote. But can Larkin get a run now on Luke 05 HD? The gap's under half a second. He's gaining up the hill. He's not even putting his ERS on or his DRS on. Let's see what Luke's at. Luke's at 310, 312, 313, 315. Larkin's at 329. But that 15 kph extra's not enough for Larkin to get a move done. He needs a good run through 2 and 3, and Luke is in enough of a position here. I think he is safe. He's running those skinny wings that are doing him all sorts of favours. Rex comes into the pits now as well. Maybe we are going to see some medium runners pit. Perhaps Miami could be the one to win this race. It's worth noting Chris and Miami are on the cusp of joining in this battle for the lead as well. Rex has got on softs. They're going fastest lap. I don't know who has fastest lap right now. Let's have a look. It is Koskapen on 099 on his fresher mediums. I think fair to say he's probably going to lose that. Larkin, well, he's tied to Luke on a string there, but then slips a little back on traction. That was a nice camera angle that we saw too little of. We've got 7 laps to go at the end of this one. And I think interesting that Miami's the one who's coming back towards these guys. He's on the hard tyres. He could be the one to win this race as Larkin goes for it. Goes for the lead in the short term, at least, and blasts past Luke into turn 1. Takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Luke's now the one with the ERS advantage, though. And Luke, we know, is running low wings, or as low as he can manage. Koskapen passes the Scream through turns 1 and 2. I wonder how these mediums are going to hold up for everyone. Because, in fact, we've seen a couple of people choose to go off them. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? It makes you wonder if they are in fact going to last with 6.5 laps to go. So Larkin's lead 7 minutes per second. He has grown that gap since making the move on Luke, so he has clearly got latent pace in the McLaren that he was ready to stretch his legs for. We've got a yellow flag. That is the screen up at Ferrajaw. Reservoir dispatches him, and Lifebout though is the one. And Lifebout's going for it now on the back of Luke. You can see he's using all of his ERS, but you realise if he's not gaining quick enough, and Lifebout Sunshine, you should have tried to pull that move 5 or 10 laps ago without trying to be too smart and stick behind and save everything. Larkin overtaking you has caused a bit of a headache, and Lifebout should have tried to go for this move much sooner. Luke is derating though, and that could bring Lifebout into play, but not enough, and now he's had to burn a load of ERS just to get absolutely nothing really from Luke. And perhaps a middle sector lunge here is Lifebout's best shot, rather than waiting for the main straight where Luke is quick and is clean and is got a surplus of straight line speed to defend with. Chris and Miami not yet in a position to make an indentation on this. Chris's penalty means it's a McLaren 1-4, but you wonder if those mediums do start to wilt, it could be a McLaren 1-2, because 21 laps on the mediums is an awfully long way to take them. And as Oxide Nova's lost a couple of places here to Reservoir and to Taupe and to RJ. Could RJ even make a move on Taupe? But I think he could, into turn 1 here. It's going to be double trouble. Lifebout passes Luke at turn 2. I think that was a mistake from Luke. He might have gone very deep into turn 1 because he's so far back already. Taupe passes RJ. Lifebout passes Luke, and Lifebout doesn't have any ERS though, which is his problem. Nor does Larkin, nor does Luke, nor does Chris, nor does anyone else really. RJ passes Taupe into turn 5 as Chris passes Luke. Is Luke's tyres just gone off the cliff, or is he just having a difficult lap? Because that's another place gone, and those tyres, they do look very beaten up, don't they? And look at Miami's hound in the back of that AlphaTauri. And on the hard tyres, this could be Miami's race. Make no bones about it, Miami could absolutely win this Grand Prix. We'll just have to see how the rest of the last few laps unfold, but it's looking like Luke is in a precarious situation with his tyres. Miami has got a little bit of ERS to use, and Luke has a little to defend with as we come towards the final 4 laps of this Grand Prix. Lifebout can have a send on Larkin to one. No, he's not. He's playing the same strategy he played with Luke, which is sit behind and save as much as he can. But Larkin, I think, will probably be aware of that. Chris has dropped out of DRS range off the back of Lifebout, and that brings Luke a little, I think, respite behind the back of Chris. It means he's not going to have to fight as hard to stay in the DRS train if Chris has not got it ahead of him. It's funny how I've gone from talking no end about our title contenders, just focusing on the race, because Felipe has done what he needs to do. He's going to extend his lead by a point. He's going to end with an 18-point advantage over Koskap. And if we exclude Silverstone, which was won by Alex the G, who immediately moved up to D1, for the grid who ended the season in formed D2 for the most part. As I say that, Felipe has just dropped the car coming out of Virgin Chow. It's a trivial matter though. Felipe will have led this championship from start to finish, which is a mightily impressive feat, especially in D2 these days. Luke though still not looking happy on those medium tyres. You've got 3 laps to go now. No one's got any ERS to play with, which is Miami's big problem, because even with the DRS open, even with Slipstream, Luke is pulling away from Miami. He's just got running that much lower wings. So 2.5 laps to go now, and the season is drawing to a measured close. I think any movement in the positioning is going to come from Luke and Miami, but Luke being in Chris's DRS is neutralising that a little bit, but you can see that the hard runners, Miami, RJ and Tope, have been brought into play here. The mediums are just completely fallen off the cliff, it feels like. But there's Rex there, spins at turn 7. As Lifeout goes for the lead of the race here, he is going around the outside of Larkin into 1, try and force Larkin to take a tighter line, get a run then through 3 and towards 4. I think Lifeout might have played this very well, but he's got to be careful, because if he makes the move now, Larkin's going to have a run on the next lap, and Lifeout is being very smart here. Is he being too smart in his attempt as Luke goes off the track, and Chris goes off the track as well at turn 4, and Tope is out of the race. What on earth has happened there on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix? And Chris has got no front wing, it looks like. What has his tyres got? Has he got a puncture, perhaps? I don't think he has got a puncture. I think he's just driving very wide. Not obviously a puncture anyway. Luke, does he also have some kind of problem as Chris has passed Buckside Nova? Our top 2 could be in serious trouble yet, as Miami could be in a position to win this race if the medium tyres decide to collapse. Felipe moves up to P7. I think Chris might have a puncture, but it's impossible to read from the situation. I don't think that the tyres visibly show a puncture if you look at them on spectator mode. Anyway, Lifeout passes Larkin to the lead of the Grand Prix as we go on to the last lap of this race. It's RJ now up to 4th place, and Miami and Larkin, are they going to swap and give Miami a chance? Oh, and Larkin has a moment there. Has Larkin been befallen a puncture? As Miami's going to cut the inside towards turn 4. That was a bizarre little slip for Larkin. Miami does take P2. Could Miami win this race by taking 2 places on the last lap if the medium tyres fall? And Lifebout's on 0% ERS. Absolutely diddly squat. And it's our coronation lap for our title winner in waiting, Ariel Felipe. But who's going to take the honours on the day here? Is it going to be Lifebout? Is it going to be Miami? And the medium tyres have absolutely been shot to bits off a cliff. And Miami's getting closer and closer to Lifebout. But is he close enough that he can get ahead by the line, dump everything? From Miami's point of view, from Lifebout's point of view, he's got a run, he's got slipstream. Has he got the DRS? Has he got the straight line speed advantage? This is going to come right to the line for the win of the Grand Prix. It's Lifebout. Miami hit the wall, and that cost him victory by 0.02 of a second. RJ nabs the podium from Larkin. Luke takes 5th. Oxide over from 6th. That was the biggest choke I've ever seen from Miami. He hit the wall to deny himself victory. He was going to coast past Lifebout at the line, but picked up a penalty. But let me shut up and give a shout out to this man, Ariel Felipe. He's had a horror show of a day, but he's done what he needed to do. Much like D2 last season, the title winner has an absolutely shocking finale, but it doesn't matter because Kos Kaplan had a worse day. He made that strategic blunder on the second car to not pit, and Felipe recovered quietly and confidently to 7th place after his early spin at turn 3 and his collisions in the sprint race. He is your Division 2 League of Europe Season 9 champion. So confirmation in the chat, everyone was really suffering. We got Ariel Felipe here. Was suffering with the tyres. 92% Larkin was on. So, victory for Lifebout by a quarter of a tenth of a second because Miami hit the wall going in a straight line. RJ third, Larkin fourth, Luke fifth, Oxide Nova is sixth, Ariel Felipe, who joins us in the party, is seventh, QVR Koskapen is eighth after his bizarre strategic choice, something I've come to expect of Ariel Felipe this season, to be honest with you. NLR Resify takes ninth in his first race, representing Jan's 18th team. Rex is 10th, GT8 Chris is 11th, Scream is 12th, Taupe finished 2 laps down, and then Darry Coxey, Sweet Russell failed to finish. Ariel Felipe, you're a League of Europe champion at long last. I have no questions for you, just congratulations. You wanted to be interviewed, you've got 2 minutes, say your piece.
I'm the best, I've been the best all season. Ariel Coxey is dog shite. Lifebout, I'd have beat you if you were here all season. Koskapen, you stink. Larkin, I run this place. I think that's about it now. I think I'm good. I think it has to be the most dominant win of all time, I think.
Well, I said, barring Alex the G's win at Britain, you have led this championship from start to finish, and Alex the G didn't last in DT very long, you got moved up. So in my eyes, you've led this championship from start to finish.
Has Montana done that?
Possibly. I think he did it last season, I'm not sure. What was I going to say? I was going to say something.
You know what? I didn't actually know I'd won it.
Yeah. Well, you won the title in much the same way as I did, by having an absolutely shocking race.
Yeah, well, I mean, the sprint, I felt wasn't my fault. A lot of things went against me. And then in the feature, lag. And also...
did you get hit at turn 3, or did you drop it yourself? Because we didn't actually see that.
We'll say I got hit to make it look a bit better.
Marcus Ericsson hit you.
But yeah, I just span. I had a run on Ben, and then I just span. Just for, to show how close it was, though. Before Chris got his puncture, Luke wasn't going to give me the position that I needed to win it. So if Luke didn't get that puncture, I would have come 8th and not won the title because Luke wasn't going to give it me.
No, you won the title regardless because where Koskapen was.
Yeah, but Lifebout would have won it, which you didn't. You never mentioned no race. If Lifebout wins that race and I come 8th, he wins the title.
Oh, I had the entire race in my head that Lifebout was 37 points behind. Not 27.
That.
Not 27.
So if Chris didn't get the penalty, I'm going to guess then you just did not hype up the end of that race as well as it should have been then.
Oh no,
Lifebout was racing to win the title.
See, this is why I need a co-com, and this is why I'll never do anything like this again because no one has actually said thank you to me for doing commentary. So I will not be doing this ever again. QVR Chill said, if you want me on, I can join in a bit just eating. This was at 10 past 8. I'm in a party with QVR Chill, he just never appeared. So I appreciate your thanks, but no thank you for graphics all season, no thank you for commentary all season. I will not. If Eurovision comes around again, you can bet your bottom dollar it will next year, I will just let the D2 run without a stream because I've had no one say thank you to me, and I'm a bit grumpy about that fact.
Well, I mean, if you think Ethan had to go do D4.
Oh no, I understand that no one was able to do it. It's more the fact that, well, I wasn't going to do it either, so I could have just let D2 have no stream because I said I wasn't doing it. But anyway, we'll wrap up stream there because we don't need me to...
Listen, I don't deserve it, but I'm the best, is what we're saying here.
Yeah, you are the best, and I didn't hype up Lifebout because I thought he was 37 points, not 27, because I can't do maths.
If Chris didn't get a puncture, Lifebout had won the championship by 0.025 seconds, and you'd have gone as flat as a pancake.
Well, this is why I need a co-com to spot my errors in these things. Anyway,
also, Campbell, your speech was embarrassing, mate. We all know Sally should have won it. Right, thanks.
Congratulations, Ariel Felipe, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Apologies that I didn't hype out the race as I should. I thought Lifebout was far too behind. Anyway, I've been QVR Killer. Thank you to Ariel J. Cole for joining me all season and anyone else who's hopped in the commentary box. Have a wonderful evening. I'm going to go watch the end of the Eurovision Song Contest. We'll see you in a couple of months on F123. Until then, farewell and congratulations to all of League of Europe's Season 9 title winners. Least of all, Ariel Felipe. Wait, no, most of all, Ariel Felipe. Farewell.
Thanks, mate.